Yo, 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 and welcome to the 9th episode of the Connection Podcast. On today's show, we're going to be talking about SEO marketing for your website, and we're going to be meeting with the owner, the CEO of Coastline Marketing, Phil Fisk, who is a SEO expert. Welcome, Phil.
Very good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Phil is a Google My Business partner. And he's got some real insightful stuff to share with us today, right?
I hope so.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for being with us, Phil. We'll be back right after this, right after our intro. Roll it.
You're tuned in to the Connection Podcast. We are a team of content creators and digital marketers connecting you each week to successful entrepreneurs and marketing experts that provide informational, inspirational, and motivational success stories in the world of digital marketing.
Welcome to the show, Phil. How are you doing?
Great. This is really good stuff. I'm very, very impressed with what you have here. I listened to 1,000 podcasts, and I've always wondered what it would be like to be on one and be heard by millions, right?
We're waiting for our first million.
First million.
We're waiting for our million subscribers.
Glad to be a part of it.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. Once we get there, we're going to definitely have you back on the show. It's like we hit a million. We did it. We got some good SEO going, and now we got a million people watching our show and subscribe. Phil, again, I hope I introduced you correctly as a Google My Business partner, right?
You did. You got the company name right, my name right, and yeah, I do. I am also a Google business partner, and basically all that means is Google, has this initiative to take, people like me, agencies like mine, out there and help educate business owners on how to get their business on Google. So a lot of businesses don't really take advantage of that like they should. So what I've been tasked with. Yeah.
Awesome. I love it. Phil, I'm going to take it all the way back to when we first met, and I think that dates back to about 2007.
I think so.
Maybe-ish. I got a phone call from maybe a local station saying that Business Card Shop wants to do a television commercial. That's, I believe, how we first met.
I think so. I don't remember any correspondence before then.
Right.
I think it was the filming of the commercial.
And so we were producing a spot for you, and I think that we, besides doing good work together or collaborating nicely, we kind of I think we created a friendship. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
For sure.
A lot of people may consider us as competing businesses and whatnot, but hey, this is a monster market. The world's a big place, especially in the world of digital.
Yeah.
And we could do things just like this all the way up to this present time, to be sitting right in a room with one another, being friends on a level platform, right?
Yeah, for sure. We've referred each other. We've collaborated on one or two projects. So yeah.
Let's take it all the way back to it was the Business Card Shop. Hector, if you could show everybody our first commercial that we did together, the Business Card Shop. I'll let you tell me a little bit about how your venture started there.
Roll it first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's roll it.
In business, a first impression is everything. Your success depends on it. Your first impression should be strong and memorable. Not sure who to turn to? The Business Card Shop is more than just business cards. From web design to creative print and branding, whether you're an established business or new, we can create an image that's right for you. Unique business cards with luxurious silk laminates, full color, and spot UV are just some of our options, making your next first impression a positive one. The Business Card Shop is more than just business cards.
That takes me back. that was a long time ago. What's funny is right at the beginning, there's that little card that shows Vistaprint, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of looks like Vistaprint.
Yeah.
That was intentional, but I didn't want to get in any trouble by copyright infringements, right? So I did Vistaprint, and it shows me throwing it in the trash. Well, it aired one day, and the next day I came in, there's a voicemail, some guy ripping me for ripping Vistaprint, right?
Oh, no.
And then I heard from a couple of people after that too. So. I think I see companies do that all the time, ripping on each other in commercials. I thought it was okay, So, but I ran it for about 6 months, and it did really well for me. It did really well.
That's really good. I definitely can recall that time when you're definitely dominating the market. It went with just the name alone. Anybody needed a business card, boom, they went to Phil, right?
Probably one of my smarter business decisions was that name of that business for sure. It worked out.
That kind of brings us along the lines and where we're getting to in this conversation of good SEO, and your business just at that time, traditional marketing as we consider it today, it did its work for you, huh?
Yeah, it did. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the Business Card Shop. I opened it in 2007, right? And that's about the time I quit a great job, right? And I opened that up, and that's right when the economy tanked too, right? Yeah. And so there was an interesting dynamic that happened. Is businesses were suddenly needing to start marketing, right? They needed to start marketing. They needed resources like mine, and I just happened to be there in the right place in the right time, so it worked out. And then, over time, of course, that business got more competitive online, Vistaprint, $10 for 1,000 cards, things like that. So it got really tough. And as customers would come in, they would ask, what else can you do? How else can you help me market? So that kind of led me into doing more digital stuff, some SEO stuff, social media stuff. And then around 2011, I was doing everything under the sun, right? I was offering all marketing stuff, and it was complicated. It was tough. So, I took a step back and I thought, do I want to be good at everything, or do I just want to be great at a few things? So I stripped everything away. I sold the business card shop, called it Coastline Marketing Group, and now we just strictly focus on helping local businesses, mainly local businesses, with their SEO, helping them with their websites and social media too. So
yeah, like you just said, you focus a lot with local business, but this is something that all businesses all across the planet are utilizing and trying to figure out what can they do with their websites to improve a little here and there, to get more reach, to get to seek their audience without having to reach in their pocket really and pay, right?
Right. Yeah. And there's a lot of things a business can do on their own to, improve their own internet exposure. It was SEO has just changed a lot in the past 5 years, right? All these algorithm updates and things that Google has done that I think have been great, really, really great for the internet world. And it's 5 years ago, if a company could walk into an SEO agency like mine, just throw some money on the table and say, I want to rank for this, this, and this. Right. And then they would go out about their business, and the company would get to the work, the SEO company would get to work and make it happen. So all these algorithm updates that Google did, and I won't go into all of that, it changed the dynamics of it tremendously, right now, well, not right now, it's always been in Google's best interest to show companies at the top that have good reputations. So reputation became a really big part of SEO, a big part. Yeah. So now if a company comes in...
Oh, sorry. So before we even dive deeper into this, this is just for like our plain Jane users. What is SEO? The
good
SEO
point.
101
Let's jump back.
Explanation before we start diving super deep into this.
Thank you.
Thanks, Javon. And I was going to jump with that. Yeah, just real quickly, just give a quick example of what is SEO, what does SEO mean, what is, and I know that you and I know that that's a really broad, statement. But for those that may be tuning in, our listeners that may not quite have a good understanding of what SEO is, give me a real basic.
And I do that all the time. I always talk the industry jargon, and I forget who I'm talking to. So So SEO is an acronym for search engine optimization. Basically, it's the process of helping the search engines understand really what you're about and what services that you provide. There's reputation mixed in with that, and a lot of different things mixed in with that. But for the most part, you're wanting the search engines to really understand what it is that you offer and the services that you offer. And the company that does that the best is the company that wins. They're at the top. So
and then you started talking a little bit about reputation, and reputation could mean maybe how good of reviews you might be getting, how old, again, so many layers. How old is have you been owning your domain name? You might have bought a new domain name 2 months ago, and you're saying, well, how come I'm not on the first page of Google?
Right.
Well, good luck.
Right. So where I was getting at is, before they can throw some money at us, and we can just do it, right? You're an SEO as well. Now, a client comes in and they want to start ranking. They want to do some SEO, and I sit them down and I tell them how they're going to work just as hard as I am to make this happen, right? Because it's not about, we can do all the technical things, right? There's a lot of technical things, and those things are changing all the time. It's tough to keep up with those things. But it's really on the business to provide an amazing experience for their clients. And when they do that, then that people will talk about it. People will leave reviews. You're not even embarrassed to ask for a review because you've done great work. Right. So when they take that part on and I take the other part on and we work together on that, that's what really is powerful for SEO.
What can you share with our audience, just really quickly? We have I have the common email that comes through. I need help with my SEO. And so really I again, when I'm having this conversation with a client, I say, well, where do we start? Where do we start? Because like you just said, there's so many layers. The layers go I mean, right before the show even started, I said we weren't going to talk about this, but we're talking about this YouTube channel right here, and there's SEO behind the titles and the descriptions and the tags and the hashtags that we can use for good SEO. I mean, and the links, the backlinks that might, back to your website, and again, this is again a huge layer. Mm-hmm. But not really one that I wanted to go in specifically on this in particular talk. I believe that a lot of clients initially call and they say, we need SEO help with our website, and how can we improve on that? Do you think you can just give us a couple little tips or insights on what a client can do or where they might be able to start besides hiring you or hiring me? Just like some of the things that they may be needing to consider from the top down on their own websites, on how maybe it's just maybe not designed properly, maybe just I think that's really hits a big one right there.
So there are so many different ways to go with that, right? It depends on the industry that you're in, how competitive that industry is. Mm-hmm. Say if you're a dentist and you just open shop, and let's say you're a dentist that's been around for a while and you spent a ton of money on SEO, right? You've hired the agencies, you've done all the work, you're number one. Do you really want it that simple for someone new to come along, find an SEO company that charges them a couple $100 a month and suddenly they become number one? No, you don't want that, right? You've worked hard to be there. So trying to, get to that number one spot or that top 10 on Google, there's got to be creative ways to do it. Again, depending on how competitive your industry is. If it's very competitive, you just got to find other ways to do it. Mm-hmm. I would say for the most part, just the basics of SEO is, a website that is definitely mobile, right? One that loads fast. There's tools that you can use online. You can go online and you can Google things like, what is my website speed or load time or something like that, and just run your website through those things and see how they turn out. You want it under 2 or 3 seconds. Yeah. I mentioned mobile, secure. Google wants you to have a secure website. If you type in HTTPS before your domain and it doesn't show up, you're not secure. Contact your hosting company and get that done. So, and then of course content. One of the biggest mistakes that I find a lot of companies make is they'll have let's say they're a plumber, right? Yeah. And they'll create a services page and list all of their services on that one page. Yeah. So when someone is out there searching for water heater repair in Salinas, Google's going to find the websites that have a page dedicated to that talk all about that. Right. And those are the ones that are going to get preference in Google. Mm-hmm. So if you have one page that lists all your services on one, well, that confuses Google and it doesn't know, when to show that page. So that's one of the bigger mistakes that I see businesses make, is create a single page for every service that you offer or product.
Yeah. With that example with the plumber and the water heater, I have a lot of clients that I see that will say, water heater repair. You go to their website, and the very first big bold title is it might say it has nothing to do with the water tank. It's it probably just says broken water tank or or I don't know. It just we're
not relevant.
Or it will say something more like not relevant. We're here to help.
Yeah.
There we go. That's a good one.
Right.
We're here for you. We're the experts.
Yeah.
Call us today.
If they even show up for that, good for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But it's not likely that they will. But you're right. Relevance is a really big thing. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I talk about a lot in marketing, just in general, is when someone comes to your website, right away you have to tell them what it is that you do and what action that you want to take. Like within 5 seconds, they have to know who you are, what action do you want them to take, and how can you help them? Like how can you improve their life? Yeah. That all has to be said above the fold, right on the homepage of your website. And that's that. You can do all the SEO that you want, right, to get your traffic to your website. But if you're getting traffic to your website and then people don't know what to do, you've wasted your time, right? So that plays a big part of it. And when I help clients, it's all the way through from beginning to end. I just don't want to drive traffic to a website. It's like, when I started my business, we were doing everything ourselves, right? And I would encourage, business owners, especially just starting, to do it themselves. Learn a little bit about SEO, learn a little bit about social media marketing and things like that. Dive in, do it for the first 2, 3, 5 years of your business. But don't do it forever, right? Because if you're never going to take your business to a new level if you're doing it all yourself. You just can't. You need to focus on your business, on your craft, and hire the right people to help you get to where you want to go. So I've got plenty of stories about people that do it on their own. And again, there's been many times clients call and they want help, and I'll just kind of guide them into doing it themselves, right? I know that they don't necessarily have the budget to do it yet, but I hope that my guidance will eventually get them that budget, and then they can hire out for something like that. So
being myself, just being mainly a social media manager, for someone like me who kind of who's wanting to dabble in like SEO, what are like the first steps you would what do you call it, recommend for anyone just trying to start?
Man, so my education wasn't in college, right? It wasn't anywhere else. It was all YouTube, man. Seriously, it's hard to say where to start because of there being so many layers to it, with reputation management, backlink building, blogging, social media, all these things. So it's kind of diving into each of those things and learning a little bit about each of those. I'm sure there's plenty of 101 YouTube videos out there on SEO. But I think, like I said in the beginning, it's just basically you got to have a website. Yeah. You need to have a website, one that loads quickly, one that has a good message on it. In fact, you have my
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
Go ahead, bring up my website. I'm going to kind of show you what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So we're on Coastline Marketing Group. For anybody listening on iTunes, you can later dive onto your computer and check out Phil's website.
Yes.
Go ahead, Phil.
So a lot of websites that you go to, they don't necessarily, well, like I said, you need to let people know how you can help them. Like, what is it that you do? Like, how can you help me? That's all people really care about. So right away it says you're a digital marketing partner. That's who I am. I want to partner with businesses. And what do? I help small businesses dominate their local market and get more customers. That's what I do. And what action do I want them to take? Well, that bright buttons right there. They can either contact someone or get a quote right there on the website. So those are the actions that I want people to take. Notice that there's not really a phone number up there. I'm kind of a solopreneur in how I model my business, right? So I don't necessarily, I don't want a call coming in right now while I'm doing this. So I have people answering the phones for me, or an answering service. So that's the action that I want people to take. So that's what's really important is, look at there's a company called StoryBrand with Donald Miller. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. Great. Storybrand.com. And he talks about the grunt test. Can a caveman look at your website for 5 seconds and say what it is that you do?
I like it.
Within 5 seconds.
Alejandro likes cavemen. He's in the back of the room, right? So easy, even a caveman can do it. That's it. He loves that one.
That's odd.
Yeah. No. No, I love this. How right away, there's first you said the no phone number thing. That sits in my brain because you have a big button on top that says contact. And I sometimes I get clients that say, nope, we got to get the big phone number right there in the middle. It's got to be quick. It's got to be easy. It's going to be the first thing they see.
Perfect.
Right when they land on my page. I want them to, from top down, it's going to be the first thing they click.
Perfect.
So their business is built that way.
That's what they want.
And that's but you're not using that strategy, and I like that cleanliness. I think I like that clean, sleek. Here's who I am, because people are going to live on the internet. A lot of times they may not even ever want to dial. They might not want to call. I've been feeling that there's a lot of people these days that don't want to call.
You're right.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of doing a chat bot too. They're getting really popular.
Chatbots are a huge thing now, and again, contact. It's email, it's forms, it's so I think that's pretty important. I mean, that's not so much just SEO, but that's just good website structure, good good practice. You want them to communicate what you have right there in two different ways. You want to quote, you want to work with me, you want to contact me. Here we go. So
we did get a little bit away from SEO, right? But the point that I'm trying to make is, yes, you want the SEO and you want more traffic, more organic traffic, but then you want to let people know what to do when they get there. So,
and Google understands that, and Google will
part of it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think a lot of people don't understand how smart Google really is.
Yeah.
Just real quickly, you also mentioned how important responsive websites for mobile. Yeah. I'm shrinking this down all the way down here, and you can see on our screen this is about the size of an iPad. Got a mobile menu. The images stack are responsive. The tech stacks down nicely.
I'm glad you pointed that out, because a lot of companies, a lot of people will say, well, I bring up my website on my phone and it's there. So I'm mobile, right?
Yeah.
I would say if you have to zoom in to read the content on your website, then you're not mobile.
Yep. Yeah. I dig that. Can you talk a little bit about, again, this is not really on my list of questions here, but can you just share real quick with the guests about that mobile and desktop experience, and I mean, how much work it's really going to take for them to, I don't even think how much work. I just think let's just talk about the importance of how Google understands, that mobile, that responsive code within your site that gives you good SEO value.
Just a couple of years ago, I think Google made it a big part of their algorithm where you need to have a mobile website. And if you don't, you're going to get penalized. You're not going to, anyone mobile is going to show up ahead of you. So, the process of becoming mobile, I would say if your website really is more than 3 or 4 years old, mobile's been around for about that long. So anything that's been designed in the past 3 or 4 years are likely mobile and responsive. But if it's older than that, you need a new website anyways, right? It's time. And even those companies, you were talking about in an email to me how companies have that 80-20 rule, right? They're 80% traditional, 20% digital, right? And it depends on the business. Maybe that's perfect for a lot of businesses, right? But even those that are traditional, people are going to research them on the internet. They're going to go. So if you're this multi-million-dollar corporation, I've seen big, beautiful. I've walked into law firms, right, in Monterey that are gorgeous, and then I look at their website, and it's nothing like what's represented, in their offices. So that's a big thing to consider, So no matter what your dependency is on the internet, you still need a presence. Every business needs a presence because people will research you. People will look you up to learn a little bit about you, so. And be mobile, because they're probably going to search you on their mobile phones, right?
I share this story all the time. We are now in an age, and we all know it, sitting in this room. We grab this device and especially in our market right here, we've got a lot of people maybe out in the fields, and they're looking for, let's just say, a law firm, and they're sitting in their farm, and they're not going to pull up their laptop, their computer. It's all right here in your hand, know. We're on the go. That's just the future. That's just where we're moving. And if your website is, I think I'm even seeing analytics where we're seeing more website hits through a mobile device than a desktop.
I think it's 60% now.
There we go. It's over.
Yeah, about 18 months ago, it hit 50%.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
significant.
That's huge.
Yeah, that's the reason right there to definitely go mobile.
The HTTPS, securing your website. And again, like Phil said, if you are not familiar with that, if you don't understand what that means, the most basic, simplest thing that you can take from that is if you ever try to sell something on your website, you more than likely are not going to be able to connect a credit card, any type of credit card processing information without having your website secured. And so again, yes, you would probably want to work with your domain or your web developer to get your site secured. And there is a small process to that, but Google did make that a priority of a strike. I believe last July, was it? I think it was last July.
Yeah, it was last year.
Yeah, last year in July. So if your sites are not, and I'm guilty of it too. I think I have one site that's doesn't have it, and
it's not hard to do.
Yeah, but it's not very hard to do.
Yeah.
Phil, go ahead. Phil, go ahead.
So, I know we're talking to a lot of business owners, a lot of do-it-yourself kind of people, and of course, the website is an important part. SEO is an important part. When I'm setting up a brand new client, a brand new business, I'll go in, I'll set up their website, of course. But the second thing that I do is I get their Google My Business page claimed.
Okay.
And if a business isn't familiar with what that is, if you open up, search my company name.
Yep.
So if you're not sure if you have a Google My Business page, go to Google, search your company name, and hopefully you see this off to the right, this tile off to the right that has information about your business, your hours, your company, your directions to it, your reviews, all those things.
Yep.
Really, really important that you have that. And this is why, this is the reason I'm a Google My Business Partner, is I'm helping businesses to make sure that they claim and optimize that and use that to their advantage, because that's also what feeds into the Google Maps, right? So you do a Google search for services, you see that map, and then you see the 3 listings below it. that's information being pulled from that Google My Business page. So everybody wants to be there. Like that is the place to be right now.
Yep.
Ads, yeah, they're great. They're not as trusted as those 3 spots that are below the map. So if you can get there, that's the place that you want to be. So, and that's what I'm out helping business owners learn how to do.
Yeah, that's amazing. And share with everybody just a little bit about being a business, a Google business partner, and share with them a little bit about the seminars, the classes, the workshops that you put together, and some of the things that they may learn in attending one of your workshops.
Sure, and I should have brought it with me, but
I'm sorry I should have, and I'm sorry I should have said it been a little bit more clear. So Phil, you have a workshop. I probably should have taken a step back again.
I have ongoing workshops.
I'm still learning what I'm doing on this podcast.
That's right.
We're episode 9. I'm still learning, but yeah.
right.
So again, you have we get the emails. I see it coming through every now and again. And you have like at the Chamber of Commerce, is it?
Chamber of Commerce.
Here in Salinas, Chamber of Commerce, and Phil puts together is it monthly or quarterly?
Try to do monthly.
Monthly, yeah. And again, you share with your audience a hair of what we're talking about today, but anything you might want to share and what somebody may learn on attending your workshop on top of claiming your business on Google
Well,
My Business.
first off, Google is a big help with this. They help me in promoting it. They even provide me Google swag, right? So there's these things that Google sends me that, I get a box and I take it and give out these cool backpacks and pens and things like that from Google at these workshops. And then, of course, they give me all the slides and the things that I need to help people, claim and optimize and better understand how to use it for their business. There's a lot of tips and there's a lot of things that you can do. People sometimes will just claim it and leave it, right? There's many things that you can do to help yourself rank better. Reviews being one of them, and you can use your Google My Business page in a very creative way to help you gain more reviews. And I would say, reviews are a big deal, right?
Yeah.
And there's this company out there called Yelp, right? That a lot of people feel very negative about. I'm myself included, right? I'm not a big fan. I think I have 45 reviews there. Only 11 are showing, right?
Yeah.
And every time they call for me to advertise with them, and I say no, I lose one more. It just seems that way, right? I'm not saying that's how it's working, but it seems that way.
Yeah.
I don't even focus on them anymore. So I focus on trying to build up these Google reviews because that's the first thing people see. I mean, it's those little gold stars that you see right away.
Right.
And when if you have 28 reviews and your competition has 1 or 2, you're that obvious choice, right? So when you learn how, and I can talk about this at the workshop, when you learn how to get more reviews on this Google page and you do it consistently, you're gonna, crush your competition. That's one of my favorite. Crush the competition.
Crushing the competition. we like that. We like crushing the competition. This is good. Yeah, a lot of my notes here that we have written down, you're smashing right through it. You're crushing right through them.
Sorry, man. I hope it's all making sense because I am.
Yeah, no.
I'm hearing myself, and this is new to me.
It all makes a lot of sense.
Definitely makes sense to us. But if any of the viewers, have any questions about anything that we're talking about, feel free to leave a comment or a timestamp of where you think we should elaborate more in the future.
Yeah, good.
Absolutely. I like that. And Phil, what's your next? If somebody wanted to go to one of your workshops, what's your next spot? What's your next time?
The next one is March 20th at the Crazy Horse at 9:00 in Monterey.
The Crazy Horse.
Crazy
in
Horse
Monterey.
Restaurant.
Okay.
Monterey. And then the next day at the Salinas Chamber at 9 a.m. the 21st.
Excellent.
It's about a 2-hour workshop, and I encourage them to bring their laptops because we're going to work on their Google My Business page, and I'm going to show them all these very cool things that they can do to optimize their Google My Business page and move up.
Yeah, that's really amazing. And that's I imagine that they're getting a whole lot of value just by showing up. Just
I hope so.
Just listening here. They're just like, I'm sure there's a lot of people that be like, man, mind blown. Javon, anything that you wanted to dive in on?
I think overall, what's the number one factor you think is the most important factor in an SEO campaign?
I would say it's on the business owner. So here's what I would say. Well, let me give you a little bit of a story. I had a client that got this bad review, right? And he was obsessed with his bad review. He was spending time and energy and money and all these things trying to get rid of this bad review, doing all they can, calling me, what can we do? Okay. I went in and I sat down with him and I said, Mr. Customer, what if you would have spent all this time and energy and money trying to gather more good reviews, And there was a look of shame on his face, It's like, it's kind of an obvious answer. It's like, stop, you're going to get bad reviews. Everybody gets them. There's no such thing as, I'd say all reviews are created equal, good and bad, because it's how you respond to the bad ones that are going to make a difference to when you respond to a bad one, you're talking to the person that's researching you. You're not necessarily talking to the person that left you that bad review. So I would say the most important thing is taking really good care of your reputation. Be proactive with reviews. Most companies don't get proactive until they get that one bad review. Then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose, right? And then they're wondering what to do. So just be proactive. Just be always on top of that. Take care of your reputation, and everything will pretty much almost take care of itself.
Nice.
Yeah, I dig that. I always tell my clients, you should appreciate your bad reviews.
You should. Absolutely.
You really should, and embrace them and find it as an opportunity to show the rest of the world how you respond to that review.
And not just that, to improve your own services, because you probably did do something wrong. And there's something that you might be able to fix.
And with that being said, I still hide. Please don't leave us a bad review. Don't leave me a bad review. Please don't give this show a thumbs down. We want all thumbs up, 100. But we work hard as hard as we all can. And sure, like you said, we're all human. We all make mistakes, and the internet is happen. The internet is a really easy place for anybody to just
lash out.
Yeah, and they feel like they're not gonna. It doesn't bother them,
Yeah, keyboard bullies is what I call them.
Keyboard bullies. There we go. I think, Javon, you and I had one more question that we were discussing, and again, Phil, we didn't want to go into the direction of SEO. I really wanted to keep this show, and I hope we did for all the listeners out there. And if I didn't, please, like Javon said, make a comment down below right here on YouTube, or make a comment right here on iTunes if you're listening. But we wanted to stay really focused on good SEO for your website, and I think you did a whole bunch on that. I think just again, we want to just do 101 today and give people that general idea of what SEO sounds like, and like you said, there's a whole lot of layers. But Javon and I were talking about, we have clients, and Javon being a social media manager, we have clients that have frequently ask for, I want good context or good text or good content for my social media that's going to help improve our SEO. Is there anything that you might just be able to share, or any insightful stuff you might be able to share in that direction?
I'll admit it's not easy, right? Depending on your type of business. There's some businesses that just aren't exciting, right? They don't have a lot going on. So, I'm in the process of working with one client that's kind of in that position. Like, what do we do for content? So I got with them, and I got with our buddy Glenn McDowell, right? Yeah. And I'm sending Glenn in, and we're just going to do some videos and some photos, and we're going to humanize them, right? So just candid shots, them working at desks and things like that. They have a dog, right? A mascot. So we're going to do pictures of the dog. And that just gives us a little bit of stuff to share. We're going to do little short videos, like the little 30-second videos, just answering some questions, just to put that up there. Facebook is just flooded with all this junk out there of sharing, and I'm guilty of it too, right? Just sharing all these blogs and all these things that you think that your audience is interested in. Yes, and some are, but it's just not engaging, right? It's hard to find that engaging content. I'll admit it is very, very hard. And it's hard for a business to get exposure on Facebook, because Facebook isn't really showing businesses brand pages posts anymore. So the way to combat that is to either advertise and pay to get it shown, or be really, really, really good at posting good, engaging content. And when you do that, Google will reward you. So, that's a tough question to answer, because every business struggles with that. Even I struggle with it. And again, I have Glenn coming in for me, and he's doing some videos for me and photos and things like that. So
layers upon layers upon
layers.
layers upon layers
Yeah.
upon layers. And again, just saying, hey, just that word SEO could be it's just so broad.
So broad.
It's huge. It's really a monster. It's the nuts and bolts of really what brings everything back to your website. Without and again, we're talking more in the organic level. There's some other paid stuff, and you said it just real briefly, some backlinking and maybe some good PR that you can be putting out there. That's and or some people may even consider it a blog on their page, but it goes beyond that.
Sure, yeah.
And that link people back to your website. Layers upon layers upon layers, and it never takes years. It doesn't stop.
Never stops changing, right? It's always changing.
Yeah, that's huge too. And we were having a conversation over the phone, and it's like a lot of people back in the day, 5 years ago, even maybe even longer, but how that algorithm of Google changed so dramatically. About we used to just pump a bunch of keywords in the header, and
that was the best move Google made, is removing the organic keywords. Right. It really is. You look at it and now it says not provided. All of SEO, the whole world just went up. Their heads exploded. Like, what do we do now? But I think it was the best thing in the world, because all that websites were doing was pumping their pages full of these keywords, and they weren't talking to humans anymore. Right. So when they removed that, it changed the dynamics, and now you write for humans.
I've seen back in the day some really, really crazy practices where we would be white background on a website and you'd hide tags, hiding tags, hiding things. So it's crazy. Google could read all that stuff now, and don't think you're going to get away with it because it sees it.
Don't try to check the system. Right. And if you're learning yourself, here's another big tip. All right, if you're going to YouTube like I did, right, and learning all this stuff, watch the date on those videos. Right,
it's important.
Don't look at watch a video from 2013 on how to do SEO, because you're probably going to be doing something wrong. So just look at some of the latest stuff.
Awesome,
that's important.
Phil, one more time for all of our listeners, where can they find you and learn more about you?
My website is coastlinemarketinggroup.com. On my website, they can schedule an appointment to talk with me and chat. I give free consultations. If you call and talk to me, we're going to dive deep. So I'm not just you can't hire me just for SEO. We're going to look at the ins and outs of your business and figure out what's happening and how to make things work for you.
I love it. Yeah. And again, don't miss his upcoming event on March 20th at 9 a.m. Crazy Horse Restaurant in Monterey, and or at the Salinas Chamber of Commerce on the 21st at 9 a.m. It's gonna be all good. A lot more, so. I'm sure, a lot more in depth, as you said. Bring your laptops, bring your water bottle, bring your lunch.
Yeah,
is there lunch?
Might as well.
Is there lunch?
Brunch.
Bring it. Phil, Javon, anything you want to dive in, or any last questions?
That's all I got.
Phil, thank you so much for being a part of our show here and sharing with our listeners some really insightful stuff that I think is going to be really valuable for years to come. And
I hope so.
Google, don't change your algorithm for another year or two.
And thank you, Alex. Seriously, this has been exciting, and it was a pleasure, and I hope we can do it again.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, I didn't even really share that, but again, that's this may be a face. This may be a face that everybody may be seeing again in the near future. Maybe we could do this a couple times a year, and elaborate a little more on some of our building blocks of SEO.
I might even shave.
Phil, thanks again. For everybody, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing. Smash that subscribe button right below if you haven't here on YouTube. If you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, make sure you're sharing it as well. That's all the time we have for today. Until next week, peace.